Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chun. I watched the Braxtons last night. Let's talk about it. First off, glad to see Tracy. It was heavy Tracy in this first episode. They had a lot of flashbacks to Trina's wedding, when Tracy wasn't well, just road trips, them singing and things like that. So that felt good to see Tracy, and I know that they said this is why they decided to come back, because she wanted the show to come back. So it was good to see her. So the opening of the show is kind of like the ending of the show. It's telling us that the girls are meeting at Tony's. They have a therapist there to help them go through their grievances and everything, and talk everything out of how they feel about Tracy leaving and how everything is going on in their life right now. So that's how it started, because that's going to be the end for this particular episode. So let's get into everything that's in between. So we start with Trina. Like I said, they're all going over to Tony's, and she said that her mother said that they may need to talk to a grief counselor. And Trina's problem is that she felt like with everything she was going through in this upcoming 2-year anniversary of Tracy passing, she felt like she should have been able to go to her sisters. But they're so closed off and they don't talk about things. She didn't have anyone to go to, but she sought therapy, right? So she's hoping that this will help. But they are so closed off. So the ladies are all at dinner, Miss Evelyn and the girls, and they're talking about how Tracy got her diagnosis. They're talking about how she loved hummingbirds, and everybody's wearing their necklace except for Tamar and Tony. They said that Tracy wanted them to take her everywhere she went because she loved hummingbirds. And then they talked about Tony not being in a relationship, not being engaged, doesn't have a ring, she's single now, or whatever. And then she talked about her diagnosis, because Tony was told by the doctor that she couldn't perform for like 15 years, 16 years. And now she's currently performing in Vegas in a residency with Cedric the Entertainer. So she's a little nervous about that. But outside of everything, Tony now has something going on with her where she had to have a stent put in her heart, and she hasn't told the girls yet. So now this has come up. And one thing about them, they will hold, or it's crazy how they will give us all this information about them on the show, but they won't call and talk to each other about what's going on. And they have to tell it because they've given us all this information on the show. They're very closed off. So they talk about little Kevin, right? When Tracy passed away, he lost his mom and his best friend. And they said that he's not in grief counseling right now. And also, he's going through a divorce. His wife served him divorce papers. And also, they are kind of still hanging out. She's twisting his hair and things like that. Like, that's not something he needs in this moment of time in his life. Like, you can tell they're young, because he needs someone to be there for him, because this family is really grieving. Let me get back to Tony and the stent in her heart. Let me say this. I know Miss Evelyn knew, because Miss Evelyn said that, she always takes Tony's health serious because she knows that she has health problems. But Tawanda, Tamar, and Trina are sitting there listening to Tony tell this story about her going into pre-op, them putting a stent in her heart. She had something called the Widowmaker. They are sitting there listening to this like we were sitting there listening to this. How did your sisters not know that this was going on? Then she went on to say that she's heard that she couldn't perform again, but she has to have a bypass. And without the bypass, she could be on stage and pass away. So now Tony has a lot of anxiety, and her mother said because it happened to Tracy, then she knows that this is something that could possibly happen to her. And she went on, she broke down, she talked about her kids, and she is worried all the time. She has so much anxiety. I know people are not close. A lot of people aren't close. I get that. But these ladies are close. And I just don't think they should have just been hearing it when we heard it. I mean, I'm sure they knew at some point, but it's wild, their reactions. So now they showed a flashback video of Tracy rubbing Tawanda's hair. Tawanda has let us know that she has alopecia. So when Tracy was going through her sickness, all the girls, except for Trina, said that they were going to shave their hair in solidarity for their sister. And so when, I guess Tawanda was like, since I've done this, I may as well just keep it like this. And Tawanda looks absolutely beautiful, right? She said that people just going to have to deal with it. This is just what she's doing, and she's okay with it. And it was just really sweet. And Trina was really emotional with talking about Tracy rubbing her hair. It was very emotional. So Tawanda and Trina get on the phone with little Kevin. You know, Tawanda said they're going to try to be there for him as much as possible, and they're telling him about the grief counseling. And he and the father is going to join via Skype. So let's get into the grief counseling. So the girls have made it to Tony's house. Tony's getting ready. Trina and her mom are cooking some of Tracy's favorite foods. And so Tony was saying that, how can you unbreak her heart? And Tawanda was like, Tony Braxton, you used one of your lines. She was like, at least we can laugh about it. Because, you know, they always say everything revolves around Tony. And sometimes it does. So they've invited Spirit, this grief counselor. And Trina used Spirit when she was going through her grief of her ex-husband, Gabe. Now, when she said that, it kind of lightened the guard of the women because they were already guarded up, right? Because Tamar was like, she don't need counseling. She's talked to all kind of counselors, right? So her guard is up. So Tamar won't be talking. And I really hope that they get some stuff out, because Tony is sitting here in front of the camera bawling out of control. Trina can't get through a full confessional. You know what I'm saying? Miss Evelyn is trying to put this front on, but her child is gone. You know what I'm saying? These ladies need to let it out. So Spirit has made it. Mr. Michael and Lil Kev is on the Skype, and the girls are sitting here with Miss Evelyn. So Spirit says, you know, Trina, since you called it, we're going to start with you first. The first thing she says is, can I not go first? Because I'm not ready. You called this counseling, and this is going to trickle down to everybody else. Trina doesn't even want to talk right now. She's not ready. Then Tony says that they're nervous about the grief counseling and that they're not good communicators. And then they show a flashback of Tracy telling that exact sentiment. Like how they get into it, then they want to sweep everything under the rug, then they want it to be okay. But then you got attitudes, and then people go off on people. They need to talk. So Spirit asked them, like, how are you feeling? Tony says that she's never done grief counseling before, so she doesn't even know what to expect. So Spirit asks, well, how can I help you? And Tony said, I wish I could give you some answers. At this point, Mr. Michael is still on the screen. Lil Kev has left because it has become a lot for him. And Tamar is looking at Tony. Trina is looking at Spirit and her mother. Tawanda is looking around the room. And no one is talking. Like, they are really bad communicators. Now, next week, they're going to get to talking. Miss Evelyn going to have a little breakdown. Trina going to have a little breakthrough, right? And the way the trailer looks for the season, I'm excited. I was really excited when I saw Marla Gibbs sitting up here with Miss Evelyn. That really took me over. But I'm excited to see about Tony and her residency with Cedric Entertainer, what Tamar has going on, Tawanda and her engagement, Trina and her kids and her husband. So let me know, are you in? Let me know if you're in or not. It's your girl Millie Chun. We can talk about it. Bye, y'all.